Now on this video, I'm going to try to share some information about color sanding paint before you put the clear on, why it's a good idea, why it may save you time in the long run, and some things to try and some things not to do. I like sanding through the paint into the material below or the primer. Anyway, good basic information if you're new to painting. Before I put any clear on, this is dried overnight. I wanted to sand it down. Now, some people call this, in the body shop business, they call it color sanding. Well, I'm not sure, but what happens with plastic parts, usually once you paint them, first couple of coats you put on, never really looks like it should, because the plastic, I'm not sure if it's a chemical thing or what, it just doesn't look the way it should. If you paint a piece of metal, the first coat of paint is shiny and glossy. Not so with plastic. So what we're going to do is a little color sanding here. It doesn't look like it's raining out there yet, even though they said it was. A good chance there was. And we're going to try to get some clear on this, and then we'll get to see a little bit of what it's going to look like. Let it dry overnight for the buffing. Now what's nice is I thought I'd pass this information on. Vince has his BMW apart. Be ready, I think, hopefully maybe soon. Get over here with the parts so we can paint them, prep them, whatever we have to do. Vince, do it. Anyway, and Vince has that collector BMW also that I'm jealous of. Anyway, this color sanding thing, it may not be ultra critical, and I'm sure a lot of times if you're doing some kind of work where you're not looking for that ultimate finish, yeah, you might be able to skip this step, but I never skip steps. I have found out the hard way that skipping steps not such a great idea. Anyway, as long as we can get some clear on today, that'll be very nice. A little bonus while it's not raining and snowing. Now, let me just show. When you color sand, the idea is to get out any imperfections, or as many as you can, but not to go back down to the plastic. So we're not going to overdo it. It's going to impart a little bit of a dull finish. The clear is going to take care of that. First, second, or third coat, it won't matter. And you can see for sure there's still imperfections in that. Now what I want to do, I want to get 2 coats on. Just let that kind of sit there. Now, I always think as a way of helping people, you've got to show them some things in real time. Sure, you could fast forward through a lot of this, but a lot of people that really want to learn how to paint, and that's basically my audience, they really want to know some of the tricks. Now, it takes this amount of time to get on a coat. For some people, they don't understand what a coat is. When you put it on real thin like this, you've got to go over and over and over. I'm basically using the spray gun like you would use an airbrush. If you have a big automotive gun and you blow it on like you're painting a car, it'll go a little faster, but then you run a bigger risk that you're going to have runs and other problems. This is the way I paint. This is the way I've been able to help other people learn. Now you might be thinking that's more than 2 coats. Well, maybe, maybe not. That's the way I paint. I call that 2 coats. Now what I'm going to do, this is going to dry. Probably dry overnight. Actually, it's going to look pretty good. I'll probably wind up wet sanding this down tomorrow with some 1500 grit, maybe 2000 grit, or putting another coat on, I don't know. Although that looks pretty good right now. All right, I'm just going to put a little bit more on this, and then we're going to be... So if you've color sanded out the way, well, the way you should, you have not gone through in any spots. And if you've not gone through, well, the clear is going to go out really, really smooth. This is going to be a nice step. But then there's going to be the step, obviously, of wet sanding out the clear before you put the final coat on. But the color sanding part of it, if you leave that step out, all the steps after it get a little more, well, just a little more labor intensive. All right, that's got 3 coats on, and that definitely has to dry now. And we'll see if it's going to need one more coat. Now the bottom line here is, let me take this off. The bottom line is you could put 100 coats on here, 10 coats, but there's an optimum amount that I think is between 5 and 6 for my projects. And it's because I sand a lot of it off and buff a lot of it off. If you weren't going to sand or buff, you probably could just leave this. Now, had we left out the step of color sanding, well, maybe almost as good, but almost as good as, well, I like to have it as good as possible. And the color sanding, as long as you do it to where you don't go through the part, it's really to your advantage. Now, it's your advantage on anything black because black shows the most imperfections. Now, tip number 2, it's cold outside. It's probably coming up on freezing here. And I used to just try to bring these parts down in the cellar as soon as possible. I like to leave them out in the garage. If it's 2-part, leave them out overnight. Nothing bad happens except the paint takes longer to dry. And this is our Black Ninja before we did the full restoration, turned it into the Black and Gold Ninja. And our West Cooley bike. We've done paint work on every one of these bikes, and all the paint work on all the bikes is out on our channel. You just need to search the bike or the part that you're looking for. The playlist feature of our channel is very handy for sorting out whatever subject you're looking to check more videos out on. Paint work, changing tires, changing chains, doing custom paint work. I've tried to separate it out into useful playlists, and that has, a lot of people have given me good feedback about it, but the color sanding is a big part of every paint job. Now, a thing that seems hard to explain to people is the whole objective of what we're doing is to make the paint level, to make it have as little orange peel as possible, to not make the paint any thicker than necessary. And once you flat sand, block sand, whatever you want to call it, color sand, and you get all the imperfections out. Now, it's always a problem on any part like this. If I were to go through, and I do from time to time, I've got to be ready to touch up that little spot. I can't just ignore it and hope it'll go away. So touching up all the spots, and it will blend right in as soon as you put the clear on. Now, on parts like this where there's a sharp edge, more than likely that's where you'll have a problem. But it's not a big deal to touch it up. And then don't even bother trying to color sand it in, because you know that's the high spot for sure. So from that point on, when you spray in the clear, and again, if you have that idea in your mind that what we're trying to do is get the part to be as flat as possible, with as little orange peel and as few imperfections, and hopefully no fish eyes at all. Then when it comes time to put the clear on, the clear lays down flat, and you don't need as much clear. You don't need those 4 or 5 extra coats or any amount. And the idea is not to make the clear any thicker than it has to be. It's just that much less work. If you can get it smooth, that you have enough material on that it's ready to buff. But it's a big step when you don't have to fill in all the orange peel from not color sanding. Now, on some jobs that I've done, if you're not looking for a total custom top end finish, if you just want basic paint work, you can just Give it a lick and a promise, a quick wet sanding. You can maybe skip a step here and there, but the quality's going to suffer. But to get that absolute beautiful, that paint is flat, that it's shiny, it's durable, it's sticking to the part underneath, it's not going to bubble up or peel up, and that you have enough clear in the final coat. When it's totally done and all the wet sanding is done and that final coat of clear goes on, now to let that sit, and the longer you let it sit, the better it's going to be. And then to do the final wet sanding with 2000 grit paper, some 8065, and we have plenty of videos out on our channel. If you're interested in that, if you're up to the step where you're ready to buff your paint out, just search my channel with the word buffing and you will see how many videos come up. Now, if you're new to our channel, we have a very, very eclectic channel. One of the new features we have now is some of the videos are grouped into groups that you can access all the videos for one category in one mouse click. And it should be very convenient and very handy. Just check out the feature on the main screen playlist. And thanks to everybody for supporting the channel. We appreciate your support, and it makes this channel possible with all the things we do, the painting, the wheels, the polishing. And please take a second or two and hit the like button. And thanks everyone for watching.